Previously on Hunting with Tripler.
But it's not done. And then he had Silent Hill.
What is happening, folks? Tripler here. Today we will be uncovering the secret behind the hack Tripler has for sourcing very low-cost video game inventory without ever leaving your house. Stay tuned.
I collect so many things. Would you like to share this journey with me? I will show you the prizes I got today. So come along with me, come on and join the chase. Yeah!
So let's set up today's episode so you know exactly what we're going to be going through, so you can either skip ahead to parts where it's relevant to you so you don't have to get bogged down on the stuff that you already know. I'm just going to come out and say exactly what this is. I use a mobile phone app to get me some really cheap video game stuff. I use Mercari. Mercari is a reseller app. If you know what it is, great. If you don't, you might be slightly frustrated by it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the disclaimers, the frustrations, things that you need to understand when you're using the application so that you won't look at me like I'm crazy later when you go through the same experience. The next thing is I just want to walk you through generally how to use the app. I'm not going to spend much time, just a general understanding of how the application works. The next thing we'll do is I'll help you set up the filter itself. Right? So you know exactly how to aggregate your search to find what I refer to as cheap video game inventory. And then next, I'm going to walk through the tips you need to have in order to be able to get these items for cheap. There are tips you have to have, and there's experience you have to be aware of. And then next, I'll walk you through my recent purchases. So you're going to see my purchases and you're going to see my sales of those purchases, and we'll walk you through the profitability. We'll talk about, is this worth it in the end for you to be doing this exact same thing? But my goal here is that it allows you who are out there sourcing, having to go out and spend hours a day going to garage sales. This is simply another way for you to source great video game inventory without ever having to leave your house when you have a little bit of free time. So let's get into this, and hopefully you guys will find a lot of value. So first thing, let's talk about the disclaimers of using Mercari. These results will inevitably vary. And though I've had some success myself, I've also had a lot of failures and a lot of frustration. And that leads me to, you will get frustrated. And I mean, stay patient and don't overdo it. Let the deals come to you. And when you start finding some success, this can be incredibly addicting. And when all of a sudden you have a little bit of free time, you'll start realizing that you want to spend it looking for deals on Mercari. Trust me, I warned you now. Most of the deals that you're going to get on Mercari come from people who have no idea how to price their items. It just means that if you're going to buy the item the moment it gets listed, most of those sellers realize, oh my gosh, I probably underpriced it. They'll cancel the order and relist it for a higher price. You have a total of 3 days to inspect the item and ensure that it's in working order, after which all sales are final. So if you find out in 4 days the item isn't working after you rated the seller, well, unfortunately, you'll be stuck with that item. Mercari was founded in 1997 by a group of investors who are looking to strike oil in the Sahara Desert. No, I'm kidding. I'm not actually going to tell you the story of Mercari. That's terrible. The app itself is pretty basic to use. There's a selling side, a buying side, a search engine, and some toggle switches on the bottom. You want to make sure the first thing you do is set up your profile with your bank information and verify your account. That way you're able to buy things, and if you're selling things, buyers will trust you as a seller. For the purposes of this video, we will be focusing on the buying side. And it's actually really simple. On the buying side, you'll be using the search tool and you can search for anything. We could be really vague and type in toys, and it will show you all the toys that are currently on the site. Clicking on the filter button at the top right allows you to aggregate your search a little bit more, but let's say we want to be a little bit more specific on the item we want to buy. So I'm going to type in Jungle Green N64 controller. That's something I've been looking for recently. and it should populate all the recent solds and all of the current for sale items. There's a lot of OEM and a mixture of third party in here. But if you're looking to buy, you want to click on the for sale button on the top left. You can also click sold if you'd like to get an idea of what things are selling for, but we will focus on the for sale section so we know what is currently available to us. Using the filter button, you can change your search parameters any way you'd like. And granted, there's a whole lot more to learn about the application itself, but truly, if you're looking for items to buy, you really just need to focus on that search bar. So setting up the filter is actually really simple, but that's not what makes this next part so important. What makes this part so important is that you're setting up a filter so that you can be speedy. So once you have the filter set, now it's about going into the application and constantly going through and refreshing the page, so that the moment an item shows up that seems like it's priced very low, you can swoop in and grab it for that price. So the first thing that we want to do to set up our filter is we want to type in something really generic: video games. And the reason we want to be generic is because we don't want to discriminate between any platforms like Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation, even Sega. If we keep it really broad, then all of those items that fall under video games will populate in this search. The next thing we want to click on filters and go to sort by and change best match to newest. That way, the most recent items that are being listed will show up first. And that's critical here. You can also do a couple other things, change things to like only looking at new conditioned items and change price range from minimum to maximum. But for this video, we're just going to change the sort by to newest. And now we have a look at everything that has just been recently posted. Your final step is to save this search. And the reason for that is when you come back to the application, you can click on your likes, go to your saved searches, and you will see video games with the filter already preset, and now you can start refreshing the page to see the most recent items that are showing up. Here's a Minecraft for Xbox One for $12, but with $3.50 shipping, this is not really that good of a deal. If I keep searching here, hopefully I might find something decent, but the further down I go, the chances are a lot of people have seen it. Well, here's a Nintendo Wii for $130, but with the $11 shipping, there's just not a lot of margin here, so this is one that I would probably pass on. So I'm going to go back and refresh the page. A few more items showed up, but nothing that's really worth noting at this point, so I'll probably just continue to refresh the page until I see something that's worth exploring. Here's a look at a new search, and I'm going to refresh the page a couple of times. Actually, you know what? I see a Wii U console for $75. And with $12.50 shipping, this is definitely super cheap. So I'm going to go ahead and close this deal. And you can see how quick I am here. This gives you a sense of how fast you have to be in order to make this deal work for you. Let's talk about the tips you need to know in order to be successful in doing this. So I suppose the hack here is just becoming aware of something you didn't know about. Keep this in mind. Here are a few tips that will aid you in becoming very good at doing this on Mercari. Number one, speed. You have to be constantly speedy at this process, meaning that you got to get used to the screens that you go through. You'll find an item that presumably looks like it's at a low price. You have to be able to click on that item and you have to be able to read the description fast enough and then check out quick enough before other buyers do the exact same thing. So speed is critical. Second, accuracy is also important. A lot of times buyers can kind of disguise the nature of their listing by putting in the description that this item is broken. So you not only have to be fast, but you have to be accurate and read exactly what the listing entails. Because all of a sudden you might have just bought something that's broken. Of course you can cancel the sale, but Mercari will hit you with that. And if you have too many cancellations, then all of a sudden they'll not let you buy from the platform anymore. And then the next thing you need to know is be knowledgeable. Video games are an area that being knowledgeable in allows you an incredible advantage here. The moment that you see something that's priced at a significant discount at what it retails at, that is where you can come in and clean house. Be as knowledgeable as you can be. So perhaps you are more knowledgeable in the Nintendo brand than you are in PlayStation or an Xbox. You can aggregate your search to a particular platform so that when you're looking in the same area of video games, you're only seeing Nintendo related items. You could also do something like setting your filters to just Nintendo instead of video games. Being as knowledgeable as you can be is also a huge benefit to you in this hack.
My first investment every time I'm looking at a Game Boy Advance lot is whether or not they're including Pokemon games. And in this case, this particular lot here looked fantastic. Also, these Warlocked games, there were 2 of them. Final Fantasy Legend, F-Zero, Mario Kart, just a fantastic lot. I do have to buy 1 battery cover. Okay, so the 1 battery cover purchase is completely insignificant. But when you add up the totals here, I'm gonna put it down here in the bottom corner. We'll start adding up everything together and you'll start to see the true value of what I'm going to get out of this. Now this Game Boy Advance lot was around $50 or $60 total. And again, when I'm getting Pokemon Ruby, GBA, Zelda, Link's Awakening DX, a Spyro, which is a great throw-in game. The system works great, and it came with a charger. Again, this is one of those it's kind of a no-brainer. You gotta go for something like this because even if your margin isn't gonna double, you know that all of these items will sell exceptionally well. This was a no-brainer because this was approximately, I think, $25, 20 bucks. This is an example of where I'm buying an item. The actual box itself was $20. I think with taxes, it ended up being $22. The reason why I bought this is that the box alone does retail at about $20 to $22, somewhere in that range, right? And the actual expansion pack itself is going for, I don't know, maybe $40 now, $45. But here's what's inside of this box. It has the manual, but it also has the original pick. And that is actually pretty expensive. I think it's over 7, 10, 15 bucks. The idea here is that by having the box and buying another expansion pack, now you have a complete expansion pack in box, and those are selling for about $100. But what I'll say is I'm gonna add an extra $10 to this item as in terms of margin, because I'll get that, plus once I get the expansion pack, it will inevitably be worth much more than that. So for now, I'm just going to add an additional $10 on my margin, and I will definitely be getting all of that back. Twisted Metal, Small Brawl. I think this game goes for close to 25 or 30. I can't say for certain. We'll put the comp up on the screen and then we'll add the total to the bottom, but I paid a total of $14 for this item. And I think with simple games like this that have really good sales velocity, it makes sense to just buy something like this. All right, so a Game Shark. This is an N64 Game Shark, and the reason I bought this, I have the box, which is really strange. Why would anyone have just a random box? But if you guys have seen my lot of N64 boxes that I got in Season 1, this was a box that was included. So I thought to myself, I'd gotten to the box recently and I took pictures of it and I said, you know what, who's gonna buy just a box? So I said, instead, I'll go and pay just slightly below retail on the Game Shark itself, put the box with it, and then sell the completed unit, which I will now get full value for the box, which probably would have sat on my eBay store for a long time. And now it will sell pretty quick. So on something like this, where I paid, I think, $20 for it, so again, 22 with tax, I will end up getting probably 45 in total value, maybe a little bit more than that when I throw the box in. So that's why I got it. I'm gonna keep this unit until Christmas. So I won't be selling this now. I could put a really high price tag on it. I paid a total of $105 with taxes on this. Again, that might be a little bit high, but I expect when we get closer to Christmas that since it's such a high demand item and they're just not selling them new anymore, I probably plan to sell this for closer to 200 bucks. So for now, I'm going to put my expected return on this item at the bottom. We'll see as we get closer to Christmas how that pans out, but I'm telling you guys that if you can get a Super Nintendo Classic Edition for under $100, you gotta do it, because even used ones right now, if I wanted to flip it, I could probably make $25 to $40 on this as is right now. If any of you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been looking for a jungle green N64 controller. In a recent episode, you saw that I picked up a jungle green N64. I'd also bought an N64 jungle green on Mercari. So this particular one completes the set. I will not be getting any additional value out of the controller. I simply wanted to buy it so that I could include it in an existing console that I have. I paid $44 for this, that's with tax. I'm gonna get $44 back on this investment. The only reason I got it is that it will help me sell the console that I have and complete it. So don't be afraid to buy something where it just helps you sell something else. In this instance, spending $45 on this controller will help me sell something that I will ideally get over $200 on. This is $45. I'll get $45 back on it. Probably the worst purchase out of the lot. I'm showing it to you because you're just not always gonna get things right. And if you see how quickly you have to make decisions, you won't always have a chance to just check comps on eBay. Now, I did only pay $148 for this. That's with tax. And genuinely, I'll make my money back, because with this particular lot here, I should be able to get around just over 200 for it. I could probably push on the high end and maybe get 215 for the PS Vita. It does have a really good high quality game. So it's obviously got Sword Art Online, Lost Song. And I had inadvertently thought that that game was worth like $50 or $60. It's not. The game, loose as it is, I think is worth maybe 15. So the system does have a 32 gigabyte SD card in it, which is great. But the point here is that I shouldn't have bought this one for such a high rate. I probably should have tried to get it around 100. And this is one of those where if I had to do it over again, I definitely would not have gotten this, but I'm not losing any money, and that's the good news. And here, my friends, is where I am going to make a lot of money. Again, I spent over $1,000 on everything, and sitting right here is close to, I'd say, $700 worth of items. And I'll walk you through how I've done that. I definitely look often for Switch lots. And as long as I can get those Switch lots for between $250 to $400, then I know that there's a good chance I'm gonna make some money back. Now, if that Switch lot is simply a gray Joy-Con Switch with the docking station and things of that nature, there's just not a lot of room there. You wanna look for games, and you also wanna look for any other accessories that could be included in that. I have to be a little bit savvy about how I'm mixing this together. So in this instance, what I'll be doing is I'll take the tablet by itself, and I will remove the Joy-Cons. I will sell the Joy-Cons separately. The tablet right now, I should be able to get $295 for just the tablet, and that is an incredible spike on that. The two controllers here, I should be able to get around $59 to $69. Of course, what I also do is just check what the Switch tablet is worth with the Joy-Cons included. If I can get about the same money and save a little bit on shipping, that's of course what I'll do. And considering the fact that it's got this Mario Odyssey case with it, I might check to see if that little bundle right there, no power included, is worth upwards of $375 to $400. If it is, this entire unit right here is what I will sell together. It did come with two games sealed. Super Mario Smash Bros. Ultimate, Super Mario Odyssey, two very good games. I should be able to get both of these over $45 a piece. And then two excellent additional games. I mean, seriously, these are like 4 of the best games that you can get on Switch. I know some of you might disagree. I should be able to get 40 for this. I should easily be able to get 45 for this. This is a Switch Pro Controller. It's HAC-013, and I think this goes used for about 40 bucks. This is actually a pretty decent headset that goes for about 20. So add another 60 on top of that. We're looking somewhere around 640, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then this here, I will lot this entire group together here. This is worth about $85. Now we're gonna start removing fees and shipping and everything out of this. And we're gonna see, after having spent over $1,000 on this lot, what my expected return is gonna be. And the question you guys wanna ask yourself is it worth going through all of this work to make this much money? And you guys have to answer that for yourselves, but for me, absolutely. So making X amount of money per week with very, very little time invested is what it's all about.
All right, folks, and that was today's episode. And to summarize things, you know, I've had success with this, but I've also had a number of failures. The number of items that have shown up at my door, and after having gone through it and really looked at the condition and said to myself, wow, I thought I was going to make, you know, $50 to $100 on this item. It turns out I'm going to make 10 to 25. All of a sudden, it doesn't really seem like it was that good of a deal. And those kinds of examples happen to me more than I want to say they do. You balance it with the instances of, say, the Switch example, where I made a significant amount of money on just that one deal alone. You start to add all that stuff together and you can start to see why this is fun, it's kind of exciting, and it's really addicting. Now, some of you, this isn't going to be new to you at all. In fact, probably a lot of you might already be doing this. But to those of you who have never tried something like this, I just say, give it a shot. And the truth of the matter is, you don't always have to be speedy. There are a lot of deals that just sit out there because there are items that people just don't really desire. For example, there are a lot of Xbox One original units that if you can get them for right around $100, which it happens a lot, you know, those are still flipping today for over $200 on eBay. So there's really a $60 to $75 margin on something like that if you can get it at the right price. This is something I enjoy doing. I like it because I'm successful at it and the items do show up at my door and I don't have to go anywhere to find these items. I literally can get on my phone and get the stuff I want. Would I recommend this to somebody else? Yes, I would. Keep in mind those tips. And if some of those tips are just not something that you're comfortable with or that it works for you, maybe this isn't for you. I hope this was helpful. I don't know if this is going to be a valuable episode, but I just wanted to share it because, like I said, the success rate for me has been good, and I hope the success rate for you is going to be even better. Hit that thumbs up button if this content was interesting to you at all, and if it wasn't, that's okay too. I just would like to know if I should make content like this in the future, and become a subscriber. There are a lot of you who watch my videos who are not yet a subscriber, and I'd love for you to join on the weekly journey. I appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Next time on Hunting with Tripler.
30 bucks? Does it work?
Oh yeah. I mean, if we can play it in if you want.